Hello, and welcome to Book Wars Pod. That's fuck two. I'm Kristen, here with Miranda. Fuck two, why don't you tell them what your name is?
Oh, well, just because I accidentally turned off the internet on this computer during our first 2 tries to record this, so we're on try number 3. So first,
That's why it's fuck the second and not fuck
yeah,
the
because
first.
the first time I turned it off and rejoined, I was fuck,
I meant,
obviously.
Like, say
Fuck-
it's.
He was fuck senior.
I meant like say you're Chris.
Oh, I honestly
But
thought you were
okay.
asking me to explain the reference, which I felt was fairly
No.
self-explanatory.
No one has said your name yet.
You have.
I mean, I just did.
You,
Fuck off.
you played yourself.
We're already off to a roaring start.
That's fucking Chris. That's fuck to Chris. I have a terrible cough, which I will try not to do into the mic, but sorry, I'm not going to edit them out. Like most things, I won't edit anything out anymore. It's just so the pod comes out. Anyway.
Man, remember the days
welcome-
when we were like, Kristen, do you want us to help you edit? And Kristen was like, no, editing is my baby. I want to do it. And now we have that.
I need to edit out every sniffle and breathe in that you can hear. And now I'm like, a whole Chris not being on the pod.
Yeah.
False start, intro, and me coughing is fine.
Yeah, like there were weeks where we just didn't have an episode, not because we didn't record one, but because we had a backlog that Kristen had not edited.
Pow,
Listen.
pow, pow.
You're all welcome. For the... Hey, our sound quality's better now. It's a balance.
It's
Now
a
that
trade-off.
the
We
sound
can't be
quality's
too
better,
professional.
I don't have to edit it anymore.
There's balance in the force.
Is there?
No.
Great. We read the first 13 chapters of Queen's Shadow by E.K. Johnston.
We did indeed.
1 through 13.
I did, yeah.
I did.
Good.
I read and listened like I usually do. Before we get into what we drank, let me drop in one iota of Star Wars. The woman who does the voice for the Audible is great and actually really sounds a lot like Padme, but also she does the voices. So, like, if you can picture Padme's voice, it's not, like, the deepest thing in the world. And she's, like, doing deep man voices and stuff. And that's one of my biggest things when I'm listening to audiobooks. I'm like, dude, I can tell it's you. Don't do the voice. Like, if you're not going to get somebody else, just read the dialogue.
Two
But-
things. One, it's so much better than men doing women's voices and, like,
Correct.
doing it like, I'm a woman and this is what I sound like. Like you're the fucking
That's
gingerbread
what I
man from
sound like.
Shrek.
I mean, that is what Miranda's voice sounds like. to
fair
be
point. But second, isn't it Kat Tabor?
Is it? I don't know who that
That's
is.
I
that's the
thought
voice
that-
of Padme from the Clone Wars.
Oh, then absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That makes sense.
Because, like, I'm like, I know this voice, but I know that it's not Keira Knightley or what's her fuck, Natalie Portman.
Man,
But
if they
yeah,
had gotten
that's
Keira Knightley
right.
to read a joint performance between Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman on the Queen's Shadow audiobook, that would be wild.
I'm doing a lot of air horns. I took a weed gummy.
Okay, I will say, though, like, this is just me being Mid-Atlantic trash at all times. You are like, so the woman who does the voices on the audiobook, I was like, oh my god, it's the girl from Metro.
Oh my god.
Is it Siri? Is it
Oh
Metro
my god,
Siri?
is it Metro Siri? Yes. Chris, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking green tea.
Also, I think that's the fastest we've ever gotten into Star
Yeah,
Wars.
honestly,
facts.
for as off the rails as we started, we circled back. We like course corrected, like with a hard left.
Good.
I'm
I
drinking.
think we're going in and out.
Green tea.
Yes, I just didn't hear what Miranda said. I'm drinking green tea because I just woke up from a nap, and if I have alcohol, I'm gonna fall asleep mid-recording.
That's great. Me and Miranda are also drinking tea, so we're all boring. Miranda's drinking out of a Star Wars cup.
It's got so here's a stormtrooper. He looks angry.
He has a blue gun.
For some reason he's not as ready for battle as Darth Vader is, because Vader's like got his lightsaber up, like the bases are loaded, and he's at a 3 and 2 count.
Sure.
That's true. Very topical.
We love the Nats.
Mm-hmm.
We do, because the Astros are garbage.
And also
Yep.
we're DC trash for some of us. But then, like, confusingly, the second stormtrooper
He looks
is
like an
like-
angry cat.
he's like charging into battle, and it's like, why is the first stormtrooper not doing shit?
I don't know, but the first stormtrooper's gun is blue, which I like.
Oh my god!
Did nobody explain the rules
know.
of baseball to the second stormtrooper? Maybe he's stealing
I don't know
second.
if it's
Well,
Maybe
blue.
he's stealing
He's
the
stealing
base.
second,
Yeah.
but like the first stormtrooper is just kind of standing on the side.
I mean, he could be
like,
on
not
deck.
doing any- He's not on deck. He's not practicing a
Fair.
swing. He's not being a third base coach. Like,
To be fair, third base coaches don't do
It's-
anything. He could be doing a third base. He could be being a third base coach.
He waves them home.
it also
Chris,
could
sometimes.
be Finn in a past life, just like panicking and not
Just
knowing
not
what to do.
shooting.
It's true. The softest
we're both-
mug stormtrooper.
We both took gummies that are mostly THC.
So I'm going to be the most
about-
awake person by the end of this podcast. Oh, wait, no, mostly
No,
THC. Sorry, got it.
Mostly THC. You're going to be the most not high person at the end
Yeah.
of this podcast.
You're also
Um,
going to be the most awake person.
You're
in
also going to
this
be the most awake
podcast.
person. You know me and Miranda go to bed
This
early.
is true.
But it's almost 5 milligrams of THC and like negligible amounts of CBD. And we're both drinking the Organics 365 Whole Foods brand of mint tea.
Love a Whole Food. That's a lie, actually. Whole
Yep.
Foods is capitalist
Whole Foods
garbage.
is garbage.
Yep, it
But-
absolutely is.
They have some affordable things.
But
if
they have
it's-
some affordable things like
if
a lot
it's
of tea bags for
generic
$3. Yes,
And we also love peppermint tea.
we do love peppermint tea in this house.
Respect.
It's not peppermint tea; it's mint tea. Different. It is. Peppermint and mint are different.
I know.
Okay. Well, you gave me a look like "fuck you, bitch."
Well, no, I was about to do a little taste test.
Oh, she was gonna do a sip. Okay, drink that in. So let's do a Star Wars. Like I said, Queen Shadow, E.K. Johnston, chapters 1 through 13. This is a YA novel. When and where are we? We're on Naboo, famously where Queen Amidala is from. We're on the lake side for while the election's happening.
Well, that's
And Palpatine shows up because he's a pervert.
correct. Is the lakeside where they were when Anakin was killing those Yinglings?
Yes.
Sorry.
And,
Killing Yinglings. No, it's the lakeside where Anakin famously floated a pear across the table and a romance was born.
Yeah. Yeah, where he killed those Yinglings.
Yeah, where he killed.
And also floated the pear that nobody cut or ate because
Because he fucking touched it with his force hands, man. It's gross. He did not wash those.
Oh, and he like rode that potato.
Yeah.
Like a surfboard.
yeah, he didn't wash his hands after he rode the potato.
That's true. Okay, so
Has Anakin ever washed
We're
his
all-
hands in his life? A question.
No.
No.
We're also on Coruscant and in some spaceships, right? But mostly Naboo and Coruscant so far. Mostly Coruscant now.
Oh, this is factually correct.
Okay, I'm setting the
Pow,
scene.
pow.
When are we? I wrote after episode 1. I don't fucking know. Sub point before the Empire, though. Okay, all of that's correct.
No, you're not wrong.
It's
Okay,
true.
so-
It's very true.
It is
so
very
you-
accurate.
You fuckers fill in the gaps then.
So I said it's almost 4 years after the Phantom Menace, which we know because like she was very early in her reign apparently in the Phantom Menace, and they're like, it's been almost 4 years since the droids invaded, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. I believe it. Anything else we're missing about time setting and who's in it so far, Chris?
Only that 4 years after Phantom Menace puts it approximately 6 years before Attack the Clones. So just to give people some context, at this point,
About the status of the length of the Padawan rat tails.
Yeah, exactly. We're probably looking at like a 2 to 3 inch rat tail at this point. No, I'm completely kidding.
That's like a 6-inch rat
Yeah,
tail.
you're probably right.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't understand how Anim grew his rat tail so long so fast. That's my first question about the Phantom Menace.
It's the Force.
Maybe he
He's
just
the
gets
chosen
a lot
one.
of haircuts while he's on Tatooine.
Oh, that's so true.
That's true. He could like get daily haircuts, and that's like what his bowl cut is a result of.
So
well, yeah,
true.
and like you don't want too much hair because of sand. I don't know. That's
Does get
not
everywhere.
A real point.
All right,
does.
Anakin.
But yeah, so Padme is 18 in that neighborhood. Anakin is 14-ish in that neighborhood. Trying to think what else is important to know about when and where we are.
Sounds good.
It's in a galaxy far, far away.
So true. So true. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This one is much more straightforward in telling us what's going on. And since this is a book that we don't really have anything else going on during in the timeline so far, it's easy to conceive of.
No, I really do appreciate that they like specified the number of years that it's been since like an event that we know and recognize.
Yeah.
And like we know when that happened.
Yeah, and it helps us like understand like Padme's perspective too, and how much she's grown as a person in these 4 years. Like it's like those are an important 4 years between the ages of 14 and 18.
Just a little bit.
Semi. Okay, great. Thank you all. So the first thing that we probably all notice is we learn an actual fucking shit ton about the handmaidens and Naboo queen culture ish. So all of the stuff about why Natalie Portman was told to be deader with her mouth more closed when she was doing her acting as the queen. There's a lot of background about that and her crazy quote crazy outfits and the makeup and all of that fucking shit. So that was really cool to actually hear about. But Miranda had a salient point that she brought up before we started, and I said, pod.
I was trying to type it like on top of the outline because I didn't know where in the outline it should go in my defense.
I put it here.
Thank you. But the one thing that I think we can kind of see like through the first half of the book is that, you know, in the past in other media, we've seen Padme as the Queen of Naboo. We've seen her from a senator from Naboo. She's always very competent, smart. Like, Padme is one of the real heroes of Star Wars and is one of the most competent people in Star Wars.
I would air horn that, but that's not a hot take.
But this book so far, it's definitely about her transition, and we see a side of her that we have not before, where she does feel vulnerable. She is not like the competent person who's really looked up to by her peers. This is an 18-year-old kind of out on her own for the first time in a while. Like, she's living on a different planet. She's doing all sorts of things.
And stuff.
Doing the things and stuff. But it's... I guess my point is mainly this is just a side of her we've never seen before. And I want to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. Great. It's words, they're helpful. It's great because obviously like Padme is famously not super well written in the prequels.
What?
Great in The Phantom Menace for the most part. Less so in the other two. But
she eats a pear very well.
you know what? Produce
Stop being
is
so gay,
important.
Miranda.
Oh my god.
Well, I mostly meant that as a troll comment, but
Oh, stop pushing your gay agenda.
I will not.
But I like irrationally love the whole Amidala voice rationale for like why the acting in the prequels is so bad. It just makes me so happy when like it's like
Same.
Bloodline where Leia's like, why did I do a weird mocking British accent when I met Tarkin on the Death Star that time? Like it's just this like completely irreverent canonization of bizarre creative choices, and I love it
This
so much.
This is what I have to say to that. It's good. It's canon. It's good.
How long? Okay, I definitely thought that you were gonna say like, I really liked, like, or what, unconditionally something. What was your phrase?
What? I like irrationally love this like
Irrationally
very
love.
small
Yeah.
small and irrelevant plot point.
Okay, so when you started it,
9:06. The gummies hit Miranda.
9:06.
That's what time it is.
Oh, it's what time it is. I was like, it's 18:33.
I fucking hate you.
No, so like when you said I irrationally love, I thought you were gonna say like their dead voices during the movies.
Oh no, that's a hard no.
Oh, because I really loved that.
Really?
And okay, I also am like super prequel trash. And
Are
we
you
all,
gay or?
oh no, I just really enjoyed the movies. They're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, Padme having that kind of nothing voice, like dead or with her mouth more closed, like I don't know, it's just part of the experience, and as much as it pains.
I can't wait to ask you more about this on the wrap up.
Yeah, I mean it's the prequel version of going to Tashi Station and getting some power converters and Carrie not knowing what she wanted her accent to do throughout the course of the movie.
It sure is.
But no, it is great. I mean, for me, this book just adds so much depth to, and we'll talk about this on the wrap, but it just adds so much depth to all of those characters that like it really does. Like between this and Master and Apprentice, which came out, I want to say back to back this year. Jesus, it's been a long year. I want to say those came out back to back this year, and it like really is like a game changer for how one views the Phantom Menace in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Agree. True. We might talk about this during the wrap, but the Star Wars binge mode pod is going on right now, and they just talked about the Phantom Menace, so I had been listening to that and plugging our shit, because fuck me, right? But what do you think about the handmaidens changing their names? I mean, I think it's like a very interesting cultural point, and it's funny that is it like customary to change your name to have the same ending as the queen? Is that like, I'm just thinking about what the rule might be.
Yeah, it's like a very specific custom.
Yeah.
I don't know, when I read that, my first thought isn't it being a custom, though like it very likely is if they're all ending with the same ending. Like there's probably something cultural about the Naboo that like their royal names or something, and
I'll
like
have
that.
X on a goose on the end.
But when I was reading about, especially in like the back half of this where she becomes a senator, all of the handmaidens or aides changing their names to match hers basically, but vaguely with their own names, I saw it more as trying to attain uniformity. Like the whole point of them being there is because they can be the queen if necessary, or like be the image of the queen. And
yeah, but I don't think that's like their whole point.
well,
think
no,
they
I
have
mean,
like a lot. I mean, they're also like the queen's closest advisors and all that shit.
yeah, they absolutely are. But we know that they're specifically chosen for these roles because they can fight and because they look like the queen.
Yeah.
And if she needs to be protected, if she doesn't want to do something, apparently, somebody can step in. And I mean, like, we could probably go on about this for a while, but if they all change their names to have the same ending as the queens, it's, I mean, again, about the uniformity, but it's just like they're all kind of one. That means the same thing. I can leave.
Well,
but
no,
like,
I mean,
it's-
uniformity is different than that. I get your point.
It means they're like a team and they're
Yeah.
all playing the same role.
Yeah, they're all invested in sort of the same way and have the same understanding about things. I get that.
I really want to know, because like Naboo is this peaceful planet, right? But like, what the hell happened in Naboo's history that all of this shit is necessary? Like, because like obviously the Trade Federation attacked, and it makes sense for that and going forward. But now that we're canonizing that this is all somewhat customary, and like, you know, maybe Panaka went overboard with it, but like they were all trained to excel in the event of the invasion that happened. How bloody is Naboo's history that you needed like 7 different bodyguards that could take the place of the queen at any moment?
Well, they colonized it away from the Gungans.
Yeah, I was about
Fair
to
point.
say, what were the wars between the Gungans and the Naboo like?
So, not great, because the Gungans were living there first, and then they got colonized and things got fucked up. Woo,
Now I
look,
just
a
really
new
want-
Star Wars.
Now I just really want like the saga of how humans like colonize the galaxy, and but
Ugh.
like written such that they are the antagonist. Obviously,
Oh, that'd be really great.
that'd be like a
that
really
would be
interesting
fucking lit.
concept.
Disney Plus. Let's
Di-
get on
Disney
it.
Plus. Yeah, that's exactly
That's-
what Disney wants. Bringing capitalism to the galaxy far, far away. Fucking Christ on the cross. Cool. Yeah, I think it's because they're scared of the Gungans, and they should be, because the Gungans used to live on land,
It's true.
right?
Facts only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, this is literally just from listening to Binge Mode, because they told their last they did a whole like hour and 15 on Jar Jar.
That's
So
a lot.
That's a very
Yeah,
ringer
well-
thing to do. Binge mode is ringer,
No,
right?
yeah, of course.
That's
it
a
is.
very ringer thing to do.
Yeah, but I like the 2 people on it. They're good. I listened to them. They did Game of Thrones and Harry Potter already.
And one of them's a Marylander.
And one of them's a horrible Marylander, Mallory. She's wonderful. Editor-in-chief of the Ringer website, I believe. Anyway, it's interesting. You should listen to it. It's somehow stuck in my head because they do dirty jokes and things that I understand. So I remembered that the Gungans got colonized. Here we are now. The dresses and the hairs are very cool and also very functional, allegedly,
Yeah.
which
Like-
is what Chris was just talking about.
It's just such like a Star Wars fandom thing to like shit on Padme's outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the one that like sticks out in my mind is like if Kylo dressed more like his
Grandma,
grandmother than his
yeah.
grandfather, and it's him wearing that like all black getup with the big fucking headpiece. But like we all just shit on it, and then E.K. Johnston comes in and we learn that like it's all body armor, right?
Mhm.
Like every single piece of her thing, even like all the makeup has a purpose.
Like super serves a purpose.
Yeah, it's just this book. You can tell this in many Star Wars books, but this one in particular to me is so evident that like, and E.K. Johnston has been very like open about this. She is writing this book coming from a space of being like, in her words, a complete Padme and Handmaiden fangirl.
Sure.
And it's So like there's a reverence there that I feel like is like kind of unique. Not unique because like there's, everyone's always very respectful of the characters and the cultures, but like I feel like there's like a thought and a reverence and like kind of a justification sounds like defensive and needless, but like not like that, but like coming up with reasons for things and like things that like not everybody would necessarily think needed reasons. Like plenty, because like I feel like plenty of people when they watch the prequels, they're like, oh, it's Star Wars, so she has like a crazy dress, like that's just a thing. But like no, like E.K. Johnston went and put in the time and made it like have it made it have extreme cultural significance and did so without it kind of becoming a caricature. And it's just like it's so you read this book and you can only come away with the opinion that E.K. Johnston was like the perfect person to write this book.
Yes.
Totally. I just put on a thing for later episodes. We haven't talked much in wraps, and we might even be able to do a whole bonus out of this, but just like some of these elements of like writing backwards to fix things that people had questions about or were making fun of in a way that is like pretty good. Like I would identify this as like absolutely writing backwards to justify a bunch of that stuff, but I think it's like
for sure.
really well done. It's not, I mean, like it's heavy-handed in that it's very easy to identify, but it's not like inconceivable.
Yeah, it's not out
Like,
of place.
It's all
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, out of place is exactly the kind of the phrasing that I was thinking. But I'm excited to talk about that in the wrap and maybe otherwise, because we've seen that a lot, and I don't know that we've ever really directly addressed it like that. But yeah.
No, I completely agree, and well, I have thoughts on it, but I'll save it for
Sure.
a larger discussion on it because I completely agree
I
with you.
was just gonna shit post.
You were just gonna what were you gonna shit post, Miranda?
I'm sorry. Is this at Rogue One Wars Pod?
All right, thank you. Love writing backwards. Thank you. That's very good.
But also
That felt like an air horn moment.
Pow pow
Oh,
pow.
Oh, nah, it's ruined. It's ruined.
I'm moving slowly. I'm just literally staring at the cursor, so I think the got me kicked in.
You don't say.
So, Chris, for those folks, for whatever reason, who want to be listening to this generally, but also who maybe haven't read the book yet, do you want to explain like the Amidala persona concept before we kind of get in to why that's interesting and how that fits in here?
Yeah, so we alluded to it, and obviously, like, this is like kind of one of the bigger instances of the writing backwards and working with what the background has given you and what the films have given you. And what the films gave us in Padme Amidala is an extremely wooden voice. And it's fascinating to me that it has been, and it's brilliant that it has been turned into such a symbol of strength, not just that like makes sense in universe, but one that also makes sense out of universe, because it's talking about, modulating her voice to be taken seriously by people who wouldn't do that. And, it's reminiscent of like things that women do all the time in modulating their tone and their like choice of words. And that's to say nothing of how people of color have to do this all the time. And it's so interesting to me that this has been built in culturally now to Star Wars, but also to Naboo specifically, but then how Padme needs to adapt it. And that like from being, I don't think she was an absolute ruler. It's still not entirely clear how Naboo's internal government works, other than C.O. Bibble has a lifetime appointment, apparently. But it's fascinating because now she is going from the head of state and head of government to one of many, and she needs to adjust to that, and she's able to do that. And it's like, it's interesting to me in that it has like both the form and the function aspects of it. And it's just, again, it makes the thought of this character and looking at like when that voice is used in the prequels and when Padme uses her real voice and the difference between Natalie Portman's acting in episode 1 and episode 2, it adds so much more depth there that wasn't there before. And I just love all the implications of it.
Totally. Thank you. That was a very great explanation. What were we going to say, Miranda?
So this may or may not be a point, but so like Chris was saying, like there's this Amidala kind of persona, and I guess my question about this would be related to like the fact that she's Queen Amidala, like that's it. She's good. Everybody loves her, and you know after she steps down from the throne or however that works, like she becomes a senator, and she's Senator Amidala. And I might be answering my own question. You know, if Amidala is like the queen.
Oh no.
How we doing there, Burb?
Miranda's high. She's nope.
Okay, no. I'm so like
She just looked at me and covered her eyes and started laughing. So we're doing great.
Or maybe Chris answered this question because like Padme as a person, like she's the queen, she goes through this weird transition, she becomes a senator. We learned that Amidala is not her actual name, and so like I would assume from that it became her name maybe when she became queen, probably not when she was in the junior legislature, but like this public persona she has, it just kind of sticks with her.
Yeah, she doesn't really get rid of it.
And you know, even as she transitions in her roles, like the people around her, they try to adopt like the Amidala persona, and they like kind of have to adapt to like what that means, if she's like the queen or the senator, etc.
Yeah, how Naboo's government works and what the fuck is Padme's name? 2 unanswered questions in Star Wars.
I don't think those will ever be answered.
To be fair, I'm sure there are people. Well, no, I don't think the people who are screaming about this would listen to this podcast. But I feel like the name thing is answered, and I just don't know the answer. But I think you're right, Miranda. I think it's kind of like a British like reigning name situation.
Mm-hmm. Like if you're the
Interesting
Duke of something. Or?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's like how like all the
king.
it's tough because like obviously, right now Queen Elizabeth has been queen since the dawn of time, but before that, like all the kings, like they weren't all actually named George. they just all ruled as George the 57th and whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, George is somewhere in all of their names, so it's fine.
Good calls, meatballs. What?
Nothing at all.
Yeah. Where is this? Should we scream about not poor writing of queer people now? Is it time?
I mean, we're in the handmaiden section.
Yeah, we are in the handmaiden section.
This whole book is the handmaiden section, to be fair.
It's so,
that is also
it
correct.
is so true. Yeah, so not a great look for who wrote the last book we read?
Paul
S. Kemp.
Great.
Yeah. Good lord, the chasm between Paul S. Kemp and E.K. Johnston.
Yeah, that
It's a little different.
in general, yeah, but specifically, like we see queer people show up. So far, all in Handmaidens. No, all the 3 people that are pretty much I mean, I think 3 people are confirmed at least queer. 3 ladies are confirmed at least queer. They're all handmaidens, yes?
I know in my soul that the pilot, what? Oh God,
Varbaros.
Varbaros.
I think there's an accent that I'm not pronouncing at the right place. I don't think my emphasis is on the right syllable, but
like a Varbaros.
It's on. I think it's on the O, like Varbaros.
Varbaros. Okay.
So let's roll with that.
pilot.
I've
lady.
listened to the audiobook and I don't recall who you're speaking about. So
I
mean,
feel
the pilot. I know who you're fucking talking about when you're talking about the pilot, but like, like for details, my brain is a fucking sieve. So like, I don't know what it's pronounced. Like, I'll look it up though.
Whatever.
The
Every
hot
pilot in
pilot
Star
who
Wars is named
hangs out with
Bodhi. It's
Padme.
canon.
I know. Dak.
Oh my god.
R.I.P. Dak. R.I.P. Dak. Anyway, that's what this episode is going to be titled. It's not.
Dak.
Very relevant.
Oh, was I in the middle of making a point?
You were.
Oh,
No,
great.
Miranda was, I think.
No,
I was going to say, no, I wasn't.
I was in the middle of making a point that I think I was stealing from yours. So before the Dak Prescott interlude, we're talking about
Were you just like so preoccupied with your Dak Prescott joke that you forgot what you were actually going to say?
no,
Yep.
I remembered it now.
Our audience, famously football oriented.
No, so we were talking about the difference between Paul S. Kemp and E.K. Johnston in writing queer stories, and
Oh, yes, that.
I think at this point in the book, like nothing's confirmed.
What do you
Like,
mean? Two of the women are like going to live together.
They didn't say they were gonna live together though.
Yeah, they did.
Oh
Yeah, they did.
Okay, never mind then. So like we have, a couple of people like pretty confirmed as queer, and
Well, and then
She's-
there's like the other lady who
There's
is
Sabe, who is openly yet poorly hitting on the reporter.
exactly openly and yet poorly hitting on the reporter. And then there's also, oh my god, Sabe is bisexual. Don't at me.
correct.
She has
Oh,
only the disaster energy that comes with being bisexual.
She's-
As a bisexual, I'm allowed
She's
to
the
say that.
one who is into the pilot,
Yes,
which is why also for other reasons, but the pilot's queer. Convince me otherwise.
okay.
But like E.K. Johnston writes these characters, like it's just so natural, right? Sashay, is that her name? And Yane?
Yeah.
Like they've got a cute little, relationship probably going on right now, and the way she introduced, like, they're all like sitting in a circle talking, and one of them puts her head on the other. They're just kind of like relaxing there, and it's nothing like Paul S. Kemp going, "Your wife died, and now you're on space crack."
Incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed possible to write queer characters without turning them into hedonistic slobs.
What a concept.
Yeah. You know what I want my queer characters in books? I want to read the 3 sentences that are about the queer characters and go, wait, what? And have to go back 3 sentences to make sure that they actually were queer and I didn't just daydream that while I was reading.
Mm-hmm. Which I will say, there are some Star Wars books that like really do that. And
Yeah.
Yep.
very appreciative. That's exactly what happened to me in this
Me
one.
too. I was like, wait,
oh,
what?
oh,
what?
oh.
Wait. Rewind 30 seconds. Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you say that you cried when Corday came on screen?
Yeah,
or?
this is just another handmaiden kind of topic. Like, we talked already about them changing their names, but when Padme becomes a senator and she gets the new aides, they're like, oh, this is Dorme and this is Borbe.
Borbe.
Oh my god.
Famously.
Versailles?
Versailles.
Yes, Borbe is her
Good
canon name
old
now.
Good old
Good old
Borbe.
Borbe.
But then it's like, oh,
Sorry. This is your fault.
I know. It was like, oh, something Corday, and I was like, oh no. like trying to stop the Attack of the Clones from happening.
Yep. Well, Star Wars exists to torture us, so that's great.
It's just very sad. Like,
Yeah, it's horrible.
It does make me, in hindsight, it makes me far more sad about Corday's death.
yeah, like
yeah, same. Well, yeah, same.
watching the film, I don't give a fuck. But as soon as she like popped up, I know what I said. Shun.
You know what? You know what else this
Shun?
book makes me sad about is Panaka, and I did not put this on the outline, but like especially since we know that like Panaka became kind of a dick and like became a moth and like kind of one of the influential people of the Empire, but then like he like saw Leia and was like taken back and was like, oh my god, and like I don't know, I like headcanon that he was like having feelings about it, and like you kind of see that rift between them now, and it's like it's you feel for Panaka because Panaka is like also one of the great unsung prequel characters.
Totally.
And his name is Quarsh.
Which
True.
is just funny.
It's rough stuff for my dude.
I read it as Karsh, like
Nope, it's Quarsh.
Karth.
Nope.
It could. Yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but
I
it's
think
definitely
Quarsh.
Quarsh in my head.
I think it's Quarsh.
I actually no. I might say that you're wrong because he is named after the actor, and I believe that the actor pronounces his last name as Quarshi.
Oh, I don't know
Oh,
who the
interesting.
actor is.
The actor's
so-
name is Hugh Quarshi.
Oh,
Okay.
well, that makes more sense then.
Stay tuned.
I'm
George
sorry,
George
I
Lucas,
don't
famously
know who
creative with his
plays-
names.
Yes.
Who plays Quarsh Panaka in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, 1990.
Are we gonna discuss who the Phantom Menace is? It's Palpatine.
It's three. Do we? Are we sure it's not
3PO the
3PO?
whole time. Okay, listen. Some of us are stupid, and when we were children, we were like, "The Phantom Menace. That's got to be Darth Maul, because he's the one who's on the posters."
I mean,
I've
the
never
marketing
thought
worked as
before
intended.
Yep.
I've never thought before this minute that the Phantom Menace was a person. It was like the name of the movie.
Nope. The
Honestly,
Phantom Menace it's gonna be Palpatine.
I don't even
Yet
blame you,
again.
Miranda, because I like just had that like revelation like a year ago.
It's the name of the movie, and it's 1999, and you're 6.
To be fair, it is the most esoteric of Star Wars titles.
To be fair, it is 1996 and you're 6. 1999 and you're 6.
Yep.
Oh no, I dropped the thing I was playing with for once. Go ahead, keep going.
No, I just think that's a very interesting side question that is not on this outline.
No.
It's fine.
Who is the Phantom Menace?
Well, which one of the? There can only be two. There are
moment-
always two.
only a Phantom Menace deals an episode.
All right, thank you.
Oh my god. All right.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Did we have
We did have another
wait,
point.
there was another point on here. I
Oh,
was
it's
going
the
to say
first
the
point.
heroes we deserve.
Yeah, so what I like about this book a lot is it expands on Padme in a way that I always find really interesting when I rewatch The Phantom Menace. And I have trouble rewatching The Phantom Menace sometimes. I've gotten better about it now. There are still just a lot of the kind of caricatures, that like kind of the racial caricatures that it does with characters still make it difficult for me to watch. But oh my god. But that said, one of the things that I've always found really interesting is that in a franchise where we kind of get this view of the Jedi as these like monks who are nonviolent, or, you know, that's not the view we get, but that's kind of like the ideal that we get. They're nonviolent, and, you know, Obi-Wan's famous, there are alternatives to fighting. We've never actually, with the single exception of Luke at the end of Return of the Jedi, which is a significant exception, we never actually see what those alternatives to fighting are. until
Famously Star Wars.
yes, it's Mon Mothma, already wrong.
Still not Star Piece, Mon Mothma.
Early in her
Just
career,
showed-
already wrong.
Just fucking showed up in this book, not Star Piece.
Yep. But the fact that Padme and the Handmaidens are kind of the only realistic alternative to, to the war that we see in Star Wars, and they have this Padme throughout her character arc, with the exception of the Attack of the Clones fight sequence and the setup of like half an hour to get an aggressive negotiations joke in there. It's Padme is kind of always committed to nonviolence, and you see that through the Clone Wars, and you see that in Revenge of the Sith, where she actually is talking about hey, this war isn't about bringing people back into the Republic for the hell of it. This war is about a failure to listen, and maybe we should actually listen to the Separatists and hear their concerns. And and she goes from obviously being staunchly pro-Republic at the start of the war to being what if we are failing, and what do we do about that? And her commitment to politics as a solution, but specifically commitment to diplomacy as a solution throughout Phantom Menace and then her entire life is really interesting to me, because it shows what this enlightened nonviolent future could actually look like. And this I feel is really drawn out in this book, just because there's all the action, with the exception of the kind of ham-handed attempt on her life, all the action is political. And so we don't see as much as I would love to see Padme and Sabe back to back judo chopping opponents, that would be amazing, but that's not what this book is, and I kind of love it for that.
Miranda's looking at me and not making any noise.
I have a gay comment to make, but I will skip
Oh
it.
my god.
Oh, you can always make a gay comment.
It's why would they be back to back when they could kiss?
Thank you. That's good. It's a great question.
Honestly, a lot more
Miranda,
G-rated than
you're
I expected
asking
that comment to be.
The hardest hitting question. Why would they be back to back if they could softly kiss?
Hang on, putting that in the title list.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, no, part of it's interesting to me too, because by the time we hit Revenge of the Sith, Padme's been in the public life for a while. So I don't know how many years this is after the Phantom Menace, but she was 14 when that started, and here she is 15.
Didn't
18.
you write this in here?
We talked about this.
The Phantom Menace.
I can look at the timestamp and tell you that we talked about this 40 minutes ago.
I don't know.
18.
I don't know how old she is in Revenge of the Sith.
In Revenge of the Sith, she is 26, somewhere between 26 and 28, because I never know how long the Clone Wars are, because I feel like it changes on a day-to-day basis.
It's lots of years, but
Fair.
depends on whose timeline you're.
But also, it's
listening
no
to.
years.
It's not. That's the thing.
Thank
It's only
you.
2 to 3 years. Anyway, sorry, that's my complaint.
I think it's 3 years.
I think it is allegedly 3 years.
But I mean, we get 12 years then, 14 to 26 of Padme, and at no point in being queen or in being senator does she become cynical in any way. So she sticks to her ideals and what she believes is her true north of diplomacy and politics. And if we want to talk about she's the hero we deserve, she sticks to her guns, and the Jedi Council's we can invade this planet, right?
Fuck the fucking Jedi.
Can we just sacrifice this child and see what happens? Dad's typing, that's why he's not responding.
Sorry, yes, I was typing something that I want to talk about in a later episode.
Great. Super. I feel like we're burning holes in everyone's ears by podcasting right now. Miranda, do you want to read what you wrote in the outline about Anakin?
Oh, yeah. Chris said The Phantom Menace is the only Star Wars where no one wins anything by fighting, as we were discussing. And I wrote, Anakin did not, quote, now this is pod racing, unquote, for you to say that. And then I noted that I do not remember how or why the droid stopped working.
And I said Jar Jar cut off their Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Famously, Anakin cut off their Wi-Fi when he blew that donut station up.
That's a very fair point. To me, Phantom Menace is much more like we are fighting as a distraction so that we can stop fighting, as opposed to we are fighting to win, which I feel like sets it apart from other Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of room to challenge me on that statement. So, like, don't. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like I feel like there's a lot of holes in that theory that I just posited, but I do feel like there's a lot less emphasis on combat in The Phantom Menace as like a means to achieve your goal than there is in other stories. So other Star Wars stories.
Talking about taxes.
Much more talking about the taxation of trade routes to outlying systems.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You hate to see the taxation of trade routes to outlying systems.
Who wrote Padme and the Handmaidens are honestly the only realistic alternative to an enlightened, nonviolent future that we see.
Which of us three do you think wrote that, Kristen? I also already made that point.
Oh. Great.
So great job. Great listening skills.
Sorry.
Anyway.
I think I probably got that, but I don't know. I don't like it when you go out of order. You know, I'm like a very like I like ordinal ordering of things.
My stream of thought consciousness cannot be contained by simple outlines, Kristen.
I know.
You know this.
Fuck yourself. You're fuck off.
Anyway,
There's the music.
Let's wrap it there so that Kristen and Miranda can go to bed. Next episode, we're going to be finishing up the reading portion of Queen Shadow, reading chapter 14 through to the end. God, we didn't even talk about just how like absolutely rude that first like paragraph of this book was. We just like completely skipped over that. Anyway, hit us up on...
Talk about it soon.
We will. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at BookWarsPod, bookwarspod@gmail.com if you want to email us. And rate, review, and subscribe to us and the Tashi Station Radio mega feed on Apple Podcasts, on Google Play, on Stitcher. It really helps other people discover the show, and helps us reach more listeners. So we do hope that if you enjoy the show, you will rate and review and subscribe to the podcast, particularly leave a review. If you have the money and are so inclined, please donate to the Tashi Station Radio. Jesus Christ, Kristen, do you need water?
Sorry. No, that I put a spoiler in the beginning of this podcast that I have a cold and can't stop coughing, and I'm sorry.
Oh, see, fun fact, that was when I was not on the connection.
Great. Sorry, that's what you
might
missed.
have been on airplane mode for that.
That means I'm not erasing it. Sorry, I was gonna say I spoilered that. I had a cold.
Great.
I still have a cold. I can't stop coughing.
Anyway, give to the Tashi Station Radio Patreon and give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. Really helps us cover our hosting and production costs. Giving to the Tashi Station Radio Patreon allows you to join the Book Wars Pod and overall Tashi Station Radio Slack, which is amazing. And when you give us coffee, we will post pictures of Porkchop, Orca, or Jasper on the Instagram, which everybody wants. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joby Terra Design. For Kristen and Miranda, I'm Chris. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod, and we'll talk to you next week.
You all should tweet at Kate and tell her how much you love her.
Do you?
I was gonna say I just said hello and welcome to Dad's Gone.
We're still recording, so it's fine.
That was my fault. I'm gonna blame Kate's computer because that's what I'm using, and it has apparently a turn off internet button, which I don't understand why you need that as a button.
That's fine. Guess what? This is the intro, so you've done it again.
What the fuck?
And you're here. So welcome. Do you need to log in on your
Your
ears?
computer keeps turning off the internet.
Or did you
and
do
I
that
find it
already?
rude.
I don't know. I think
Oh
that's
no,
just
is he gone again?
no. He's fuck has joined. Oh, wait, fuck has left.
fuck is left.
I think that's Kate telling us to eat her ass while she's not participating. In this moment in time, I don't actually remember what it sounds like. I just dance along to it.
I know, it just sounded like you were singing Inspector Gadget.
No, that's ba 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 da ba da da da.
No, it's
I don't know. Isn't there a part that goes Inspector Gadget?